trying to explain that overarching story. So, here we have the boogie lady who is giving an invitation to one of her servants. The servants go and they deliver the invites to the Halloween bash at the barn to some of the other monsters that you've seen, or humans, or whatever the case may be. And, yeah, so she's the hostess and the main focal point of the story, I guess. And, yeah, so she's loosely based off of some drawings that I've done of the boogeyman, but this is like lady boogie lady, like lady as in the title instead of like the gender, I guess. Well, she is well, you know what I mean. Like a lord, but female. And, yeah, so she's based off of some drawings of the boogeyman that I've done in the past. I've just changed a few elements to be more booger based, because, yeah. And so I like her gown and her little servants. A lot of furniture pieces are either based off of eyes or noses, because she has that really big eye, and boogers come from noses. I really hate that word for some reason. Yeah, and yeah, and her dress kind of turned into like Tiana's from The Princess and the Frog, but I love that movie, so I'm not upset about that. What else? What else? Did you know that boogeyman comes from the word bugbear somehow? And that's bug with an extra G in it at the end. And that spelling of bug means a frightening thing. It's true. And that's all I got. So enjoy the music. Okay, fairy. So originally I was going for like a drag performer sort of dealio, but then I realized the negative connotations to that, so I decided not to. So this is just a lady with a cool mustache now, okay? And yeah. So this one I did on my birthday, so I'm going to tell you about my birthday and how that influenced my art style. You see, it all started way back when my mother explained to me that my birthday was a week before Halloween. And I was like, oh, cool. I guess I have to love Halloween now. And I still do, probably always will. And I became obsessed with monsters and things like that, because that's what Halloween was about as a kid. Cool monsters and stuff, or at least it was for me. So I became obsessed with monsters and researching them. And when you're obsessed with monsters, you become interested in mythology. And when you're interested in mythology, you get interested in stories, enjoy telling. And then you naturally want to write stories and watch a lot of TV. So one night I was trying to watch TV, and they got rid of the Addams Family. But then I found this show called Svengoolie, and oh my gosh, it changed my life. I became obsessed with the channel that I was on, and I became obsessed with the show. And now I love monster movies, and because of the monster movies, I have vintage things now, and that explains a lot about my taste and interests with all things vintage and spooky and fanciful and wonderful. And so, yeah, thank you for listening to my autobiography. I can't thank Swingly enough. That show really changed my art. Alrighty then. Next up we have Can. I mean, that was the word, it was tempting. So I did Can because legs. Legs. And the actual, face of the creature is that leg with the eyes and the teeth and the tongue. There's like a false head on top, which is why her face is pretty simple, and why she has that ventriloquist dummy mouth. It's a false head made to lure in victims. Tried to make the foot feel like a knife, basically. And yeah. Next up is Ego. And the original drawing I made for Ego, I unfortunately lost it, but fortunately it was pretty bad and I wasn't happy with it anyway. So yeah, so this here is based off of the woman who was originally going to play the witch in The Wizard of Oz, and Glinda. And the reason I chose those is because, one, the original actress didn't want to be made up to be ugly, so she quit. And Glinda, because she got the nicest trailer all to herself, because she was married to a friend of the director's or something. Yeah, and in the mirror, when we get to the pen, you'll see an evil version, because the original thing had 2 faces. I don't know what I was going for there. I don't know. And the bouquet on her dressing table, vanity, that's what it's called, is actually the bouquet from Bouquet, whatever. And yeah, I wasn't really jazzed about the word for this day, honestly, but it's what it is. Alright, snack. So this one is loosely based off of Beetlejuice, when they transform their faces. And also it's based off of the Dapper Dans from Disney World. So it's a 1910 sort of thing I'm going for here. I don't know, I'm happy with this one. I think it turned out pretty good. The color on his face mixed a little weird. Didn't mean for him to be so yellow. I was going for a yellow tinted skin tone to make him look less human-ish. But whatever. It is what it is. And yeah. So camping, I went with a Boy Scout thing, and I think it's based off of a painting by Norman Rockwell. For some reason I get those two mixed up a lot. So this is based loosely off of the Norman Rockwell thing, and I tried to make the uniform based off of an old American Boy Scouts uniform and a British Boy Scouts uniform, but they're kind of the same, really, or at least the vintage American Boy Scouts one. There's been some updates since the Norman Rockwell painting, according to my research. And the flag is just meant to be a random flag that for a made-up country, because I didn't want this to be specific to anything. And yeah, also the face is based off of that same scene of Beetlejuice where they transform their faces. I don't know, I didn't know what to do for the actual monster part of this drawing, so we're left with this. And I was really worried I would mess up with the khaki, but honestly, I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. Okay, I'm really excited about So there's this one YouTuber called Lavender Town, and she took nursery rhymes and turned them into monsters. So it was kind of based off of her drawing of Humpty Dumpty. And yeah, and I cut out part of the paper on this one to like play into like the shattering, breaking vibe. Um, and it's also just a good way to incorporate the overarching story of the invitations. And yeah, even the speech bubble is like slowly breaking because I guess this world just breaks everything that enters it. Luckily for the booger butlers, they're like immune to that because they can just reconstitute because they're made out of non-solid matter.